Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy Heroes. This is a talk video, and we are here today because we have our final Jedi Survivor Cal Kestis Journey prerequisite on the way. Saw Gerrera arrives as a Rebel Fighter Support Leader, and those tags make me very happy because I've had an agenda this entire time and held out hope that we could get a separate Rogue One and/or Saw Gerrera that is a conquest character, because over the past several years, Saw's profile has continued to grow, and I think he's earned conquest status. So I'm happy that that possibility is retained by the Saw Gerrera that we are getting. These tags mean that we could still see that old man Saw, the paranoid and battle-worn Saw of the Gilroy products. Now for today, we got our kit reveal. We'll take a look at the developer insights. We'll do our breakdown and analysis, the simplified version that we do, just to make it easier to understand these synergies and how this is going to function. Then we'll take a look at the squads. There's the obvious one, but there are other things that we can consider. And then when we wrap up, as we do, with the free-to-play gearing of my roster. And here's our Fallen Order inspired Saw Gerrera, who is, again, as we stated, a support leader Rebel fighter. He'll have a granted ability in explosive traps, which is interesting, and he has been designed to bring utility to the old classic squad of Wigs and Chase. But we will talk about in squad synergies about some alternate possibilities. Now with the developer insights, this is a little sparse this time. They completely left out the frequently asked questions portion entirely, which is fine because that's an element that seems a little redundant now that they respond to community questions in the next day or so. With the attributes portion, they just go out and state what this squad is about. Elevating that classic squad, as we said up front. Wigs and Chase getting a lot of utility, and it's pretty clear how that is going to come about. We'll go into more detail about that. So those original monsters back from when I started my account are going to be revitalized under Saw Gerrera. So Saw's kit is going to benefit a lot from buffs and a lot of the bonuses flying around through dispels and through some health mechanics. They also emphasize here in the tips area that Saw is specifically not going to have full functionality with Mon Mothma, since she is not a Rebel fighter. So that's one of the ways they're going to help ensure that we have separate squads. Also, they explain in here that characters who revive, like Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, are not going to fully synergize with Saw Gerrera as well. They aren't going to get the full bonuses, but I would also read this to understand that it will limit his functionality under Jyn and Radis, to make sure that some of those Rogue One characters that work under Radis are going to stay over there. This kit has been designed in a way to segment our Rebel fighters that we currently have in-game. And now for our slightly abridged breakdown analysis of this kit. The basic ability, critical shot, physical damage to the target, inflict defense down if all allies are Rebel fighters. The cooldown of RPS 6 rocket launcher blast will be reduced. The all allies condition is part 1 of controlling and limiting the synergies here. And the cooldown reduction is going to be pretty important to utilizing the special because of how large the cooldown is. So mixing and matching and trying to bring in other Rebel characters who don't have the Rebel fighter tag is going to be explicitly counterproductive. The special ability RPS 6 rocket launcher blast, I do want to call this rock paper scissors blast. Cooldown of 6. Now this ability I thought was written in a somewhat cumbersome way, so we're going to reorder things a little bit. It's an AoE ability, physical damage, and inflict blind. For each buffed ally and enemy, AoE removal 5% turn meter and reduce offense by 2% stacking until the start of Saw's next turn. Then dispel all buffs on all allies and enemies. Rebel fighter allies recover 20% for each stack of heal over time dispelled from allies. So what we have here is a multifaceted AoE ability that's going to do a lot for the survivability of the squad, and we're going to want to wait and time when we use it, partly because of that big cooldown, but also because the more heal over time that there is on the field, the more the squad is going to heal from it, and probably very easily get a max heal, get to full heal. Plus, there's going to be the survivability from reducing the offense and survivability from inflicting blind on everyone. And on top of that, this is going to be nice in Conquest because right now we're really relying on Chupio to really burn through some of those blind fleets if we continue to see those. And with this squad here, we get another AoE blind. Let's just speed that up so we're not just burning through the stamina on a single character. I should say 8th Brother technically has another AoE blind ability if you go up against Jedi squads. This is the internet. With the granted ability, Set Explosive Trap, this is related to the leadership. This is limit 1 use per battle. AoE inflict 15 stacks of explosive trap for the rest of the encounter and crit damage down. When explosive trap detonates, it gets removed from everyone who has it. If there's only one active enemy, explosive trap detonates at the end of Saw's turn. With explosive trap, lose 1 stack whenever another ally takes a turn or uses a special ability. At 0 stacks or when it gets removed, it explodes at the end of the turn. Allies that detonate it are stunned. When exploding, take damage equal to 30% of the enemy Saw Gerrera's max health and gain burning and stagger. So this ability has a couple mechanics to aid in control, but really what we'll want to see here is the damage output. And because of the max health condition, we may not see much low star gear 11 viability on this granted ability. Those kinds of conditions don't really start showing their power until high relics, but it is probable that we need to mod Saw with a health set with health primaries because of this ability here. But while we take this character up to 7 stars, I think the other portions of the kit are what is going to make Saw Gerrera a low star viable character. This one is going to be more effective later on. With the unique ability Adapt and Survive, this is a Zeta ability. Saw Gerrera gains 30% max health. If all allies are rebel fighters, the first time each non-tank ally falls below 50% health, they will cleanse themselves and gain 3 stacks of heal over time and stealth until they are at full health. When this stealth expires, they will recover 100% protection and gain 30% crit damage and offense. If all allies are rebel fighters at the start of the battle, the first time a tank ally falls below 50% health, they will cleanse and gain 3 stacks of heal over time and crit hit immunity, defense up, and taunt until they're healed to full health. When this taunt expires, they recover 100% protection and gain 25% crit avoidance and defense for the rest of the encounter. There's some nice things here with this unique ability, but what I'm particularly interested in is the tank condition, which results in permanently boosted defensive stats. The unique directly ties into the special, specifically the added heal over times, and I think it's going to be pretty important based on how the leader is going to function, that special ability is going to make it a whole lot easier to get that full health trigger on how this unique is going to function. And this unique is partly why you're going to want to time out that unique to make that special in order to make sure that this unique gives you the full functionality. Because what we're looking to achieve here is to fully heal from that special so that these unique conditions are triggered for both the tanks and the non-tanks. With the leader ability, Freedom Isn't Free, this is a Zeta and Omicron ability. Saw Gerrera gains another 30% max health. If all allies are rebel fighters, allies have 30% crit damage while they have full health, plus 30% defense, and plus 10 speed while they don't have full health, and plus 5 speed stacking, max of a 50 for each stack of heal over time on them, and Saw gains the granted ability Set Explosive Trap, which we've already addressed. At the start of the encounter, Saw gains speed up, and all allies above 10% health lose 10% health, gain crit damage up, and gain 2 stacks of heal over time. So we're starting to see the compounding mechanics here. Saw is going to be very fast. He's going to take a turn. He's going to remove that health, which is then going to give speed to everybody. At the end of Saw's turn, all allies above 15% health lose 15% health and gain 2 stacks of heal over time. So we're seeing more of that. And whenever a buff expires, they gain tenacity up and an additional bonus depending on their role. Whenever an ally recovers health, all allies are going to gain 1% max health and offense stacking max of 100 for the rest of the encounter. So the longer this battle goes on, the tankier and more survivable this squad is going to get. Attackers will have offense up, tanks will taunt, and support or healer characters, they are going to reduce cooldowns by 1 and gain 25% turn meter. Remember, Saw himself is a support character, so his abilities are going to be reducing cooldowns when he's receiving these benefits as well. So this is a pretty excellent leader ability. It has meaningful synergies throughout the rest of the kit and with the specific characters that they've highlighted with Wigs and Chase. Between the unique and the leadership, Saw should have enough health to lead at 3 stars on day 1, only improving as he gets more investment in gear and in stars. The primary mechanics: Saw's lead removes health. When allies are below health, they gain a speed boost. They're going to receive a stacking speed boost from the heal over times, and as they experience the mechanics of having a buff expire, they are going to get tankier and more offensively dangerous throughout the battle. The longer this goes on, the more problematic it's going to be. With this Omicron, it is a Grand Arena Omicron. Saw gains 30% max health. Whenever Saw uses Set Explosive Trap, he takes a bonus turn and AoE increases enemy cooldowns. And at the start of each ally's turn, inflict defense down on the weakest enemy until the end of that turn. And if an enemy has a taunt effect and Explosive Trap has detonated, inflict marked on the weakest enemy, circumventing that taunt. And whenever an ally uses a special ability during their turn, they're going to call themselves to assist, and whenever a buff expires, gain 3 stacks of heal over time. So this Grand Arena Omicron is clearly good, but I think he's going to be plenty good without it, and I'd put it in that Radis Dash tier until we see it in action. And right now, I think I would rather have it above Dash and Radis, all else being equal, but that is a tier of Omicron that I have lower than others. I don't prioritize Omicrons like this, at least in how I'm reading it today. With Saw Gerrera, he's going to bring along with him a lot of standardization within the Rebel Fighter faction with how we split up all these characters into different squads. Now with Mon Mothma, what we've seen are a number of versions that use Wigs and Chase. My preferred version and a lot of other players' preferred version is this one here with Pow and Hoth Rebel Scout. What you get with Pow and Hoth Rebel Scout is a little bit of a turn meter loop, and what's nice is that the both of them are extremely easy to gear, and we've got videos about that. If you look at my list videos, I'll have a video on easiest characters to gear in the game. I might tag that on at the end of this video. Kyle Katarn is awesome on the squad, and actually the 5th should be Cara Dune, but when we get down to Sana Staros, that's an alternate location for Cara Dune as well. So if you don't have a Sana Staros squad, throw Cara Dune in here as the 5th. With the Rogue One, I had held off on adding any additional relics to the squad, held off on K2SO, because there was the possibility that Saw Gerrera was going to have a Rogue One tag and be placed into this Radis squad to elevate it up even higher. I didn't want to put relics onto a character and just have that investment expire. And now that we know that Saw Gerrera is intended to create his own squad, then we can safely look at adding relics and a Zeta to K2SO, as a lot of players others have done, and it's very good. If you don't want to do that, Scarif Rebel Pathfinder can go on there and works out just fine, and his relic would invest into Biston's ship, although K2SO would boost up Cassian's ship a little bit. I think either is viable, although K2SO synergizes nicely with Cassian. With Sanastaros, this is typically the squad. I do kind of think it does require relics, so I'm not a huge fan of it right now. It does work well if you have invested in it, but I find that with my Gear 12 Stormtrooper Han, it doesn't work great. Cardoon is nice in it, but you don't have to use her. You can slot in Lando in there and he will work very well with it and boost up the squad as well. It is somewhat designed with Lando in mind, but the tank synergies within Sana's kit makes Kara very good in it as well. Now with this last portion, Nest is the stand-in for Saw Gerrera, so keep that in mind as we discuss it. The main one, very obvious, Chase and Wiggs. This makes sense for a lot of reasons. The big things here is heal over time. That is going to have a lot of redundant effects with Saw Gerrera. Saw Gerrera gives a bunch of heal over time. There's a bunch of benefits to heal over time. Chirrut adds a lot of heal over time. Now Chirrut is doing that with his second unique here. As a rebel ally critically hits, they're going to gain heal over time. So characters who have a high crit chance or who are modded for crits, they're going to be gaining a lot of heal over time and receive all those additional effects here from Saw, which is that stacking speed for each stack of heal over time. So the presence of Chase is going to be the most indispensable portion of this, because Chirrut is going to be the one who makes this squad fast. And with the synergies Baze has with Chirrut, Baze is going to be taunting all the time. He's going to keep Chirrut alive. It's going to be very difficult to take out Chirrut. That was always the case with them. It's what made them always so annoying. That's just going to be elevated to another level here. When we're looking at Wiggs here, Wedge is the character that is going to be the biggest difference maker. Wedge is the attacker. He is going to get offense up, but what really matters here is the unique ability, because with this ability he is going to be gaining plus 15 speed for each ally without full health, which is going to be inflicted on everyone by Saw Gerrera's kit. So as Saw takes turns, everyone is going to gain a bunch of speed. It's just going to make this squad both terribly fast and terribly tanky. And Biggs is going to synergize that as well and gain those bonuses. Now with Biggs, he also is going to bring in some things here. With Biggs' special here, Comrade in Arms, he has a 75% increase crit chance, which again from Chirrut's kit means additional heal over times whenever anyone is critting. And the other important aspect here is Biggs is a support character, which means from Saw's leadership ability, he is going to be reducing his cooldowns whenever those heal over times are being consumed. So potentially Biggs could be nearly always using this special ability. So that's a very synergistic and dangerous squad, and that is why this is probably going to be the default squad. It's very much intended and designed around these mechanics. But there's one more I want to talk about, and that is Bodhi Rook here. Bodhi's gonna bring some things to the squad where he might actually have some utility, and Biggs he gets a couple things that are nice. Biggs has the reduced cooldowns. He's going to have those bonuses that he shares with Wedge, which is going to make him fast as well. That is going to be desirable. But Bodhi here, this is what he does with his unique ability. This is very nice. Rebel allies with offense up gain plus 50% defense. Now the attackers would gain offense up when their heal over times expire. But with the Zeta ability here, at each of his turns, Bodhi grants offense up to a random ally who doesn't have it. That means any of the characters on the squad can receive offense up and get this additional defense. It means the attackers are pretty much going to have it, so Chirrut and Wedge, and then offense up can go to either Saw, Bodhi, or Baze and get that additional defense, which is going to make this squad just tankier on top of everything else that is going on. And plus, because Bodhi is a support character, that means his specials are going to cool down. So his spotter ability here is going to grant offense up to a target, have an assist, and also Bodhi gains a bunch of turn meter. And then his second special, intercept communication, is going to remove turn meter from all enemies, and all allies are going to gain turn meter. So this is another ability that's just feeding into that speed. So any lost speed mechanics from Biggs can be somewhat replaced here with Bodhi, but what is going to happen is he's going to give them defense instead to replace the offense that Biggs is offering. So what I see here is the potential of an offense and defensive setup, where if you want to use Saw on offense, you bring in Biggs, and if you want to set Saw on defense, maybe throw in Bodhi Rook. And that might be more of a timeout scenario, and Biggs might be more of a win scenario. It's going to just depend on the testing, how that's going to round out. For this instance of the free-to-play gearing, this was done on March 27th, and this one's a little special, because with this one here, pay close attention to my galactic power. Now here you can see my Zori Bliss is about to be brought up to 5 stars. We're actually going to get her to 7 stars any day now. With those double drops, definitely maybe beforehand. Now, Sirjunda was recently released, so I'm bringing her up to Gear 11, because that's what I do with all the marquee characters. I bring them right up. It's been really helpful to me in Conquest. I just don't have to deal with the same challenges as a lot of other players. I can use them right away. And what's great about Sirjunda and Cal Kestis is they're tanky. They're perfectly viable at Gear 11. I've been using them to beat a number of things. I'm very happy with those characters. And her Omicron, you're going to see that I put this one on right away, because this is a solid Omicron. I really like it. And it was not one I was interested in testing to see how she was with or without it. I wanted to see it right away because of how powerful I think it is. I think it's a no-brainer. Now here's where I am with the Sith Eternal Emperor. I want to make my fleets better, so I am taking him up to relics and getting myself closer and more prepared for that Sith Eternal Emperor galactic journey. But I don't want it to delay from me getting Cal Kestis quickly, so I'm trying to be a little careful with those Kairos, taking my time and not rushing it. I'm fine for now, but we could be getting Sith Eternal Emperor pretty soon here. Like, if I really wanted to, I could just drop all the gear right now. It just might delay Cal Kestis, and that's not the way I want to approach it. Not while I can still play in Kyber 2 without. Same deal here with Sith Marauder. What you're seeing me doing is taking up the pilots, because I want to have my pilots be able to contribute and be more of a threat, particularly because I had been for a while setting down the Chimera on defense. So anything to boost a defensive contributor. I don't throw Relic on Royal Guard though, just because it's the Kairos that he needs. He wants the same ones as everyone else, the Cairo prods. And we will wrap it up there. Very excited for Saw Gerrera. Very happy that my old man Saw Gerrera conquest level character agenda is still alive. And this week in Grand Arena, we're going to be doing a lot of Tarful testing. So if you want to see a 3-star Gear 11 Tarful surrounded by a bunch of mostly Gear 11, maybe all Gear 11 bounty hunters, check out those videos I'll be using them throughout the week to see what we can do. I hope and expect that they're going to be pretty solid. And then next week will be Gerrera in 3v3 testing. So thank you for watching. Be safe out there, everyone. Be excellent to each other. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.